Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bitrix24 Podcast series, where we do nice interview sections with our great partners that we have all around the world. Today, we are very happy to have our great partners from FullView Solutions. We have Johannika and Phil. Hello, guys.
Hello, Vlad.
Hello there.
How are you?
Good.
Enjoying
Wonderful.
summer down in South Africa.
Wonderful. So today we're really gonna, cover a couple of basic things about just, how small business is affected maybe with automation, how it can compete with bigger business and maybe even enterprise. So let's get into it, okay?
Good.
My first question is that we are kind of seeing a lot, and then we're discussing with a lot of different partners right now, is how well is automation integrated within a company, and how much does the size of the company factor how well they do adapt to automation?
So my opinion is it's not so much about the size, but it's about the complexity. So the size influences the complexity, and that plays a role in multiple instances or factors when you implement. So the first part is getting the approval to actually get the project going. So with a very large company, there's a lot of hoops, a lot of sign-offs and budgets and everything that has to be approved. So that sometimes makes it take a bit longer for the project to start. And it's also the processes are longer to set up. So a smaller business has a simple flow process. It doesn't have a lot of stages and approvals in it. So it's quicker to do that setup and give the customer a functional solution that they can start using. And you can have a big company, a small company running as a big company gives you agility. So you can adapt and you can grow. Yeah. The one thing with bigger businesses, quite often they have their processes plotted better. So that helps you to know, what do you want from me? So that's the flip side of it, where size does play a role.
Wonderful. Now, we did just cover a lot of the, we could say, pain points of a bigger business and how it is kind of a little bit trickier to maybe get started with some implementation requests. What are maybe some of the pain points you're seeing in smaller businesses that when you are kind of ready maybe to offer your services, what are some of the things that are kind of slowing them down and are maybe hurting them?
So if you don't have a lot of hands, so if you're a small business, you can't afford to get a person for every function you have. I often use the comparison that if you're a small business, you're much more than a B&B. Because you're not like in the hotel where you only do laundry, or you're only the chef, or you only do that. So you have to multitask a little bit. And if you have automations, it helps you to sort out the admin so that let the automations do the repetitive things, so the humans can do the human things and talk to customers and interact. So that's quite often where they don't have time to respond quickly to the customer, or to keep it personal, or you drop things because you don't know who's supposed to do it, when is it supposed to be done. So I think capacity is a big thing. And also what we've seen is approvals. So just to get things done quicker. So I often say we're scared of AI and automations, but let it do the things that it can do, so we do the things they can't do.
Sure. No, that's it's very true. I think a lot of the partners I talk to, small businesses, they kind of want to jump into automation right away and maybe bite off more than they can handle, or sometimes they might just say, no, this isn't for us. We've already been doing this for so long. We're not really ready to change, and maybe we don't even need to change, as they might think. But I think that might lead me to my next question here. As far as how small businesses use automation, is it really helping them grow in a specific way, or are they just using more automation for your everyday things of just, like you said, maybe where their hands can't handle it or they don't have enough power in that space?
I think there's a combination there, because the first part is, in a small business, you're always limited by time and humans. There's only so many people who go around who can do certain tasks. So if you can automate some of those tasks and take away that repetitive work, doesn't have to be the complex work, but it's the work that's error prone, where people make mistakes or they forget to do certain things. If you force them down a specific path just through the automation, things don't get dropped. I'd remember the stats years ago about a lead. If you don't follow it up within 5 minutes in the States, that lead is lost. Whereas if you at least have automation contacting the lead saying, Mr. Customer, we got your lead, we're working on it, or we got your issue that you've logged, we're working on it. People already feel like that you've engaged with them and you can actually solve their problem, although it might not have been a human that got there. And then you pass it over, you automate it to say, assign the right person to this task, and then you carry on going through this process without actually losing any of the personal touch, but you don't lose the customer during the process.
Yeah, that's very important that you did touch there, the personal touch, right? I think a lot of small businesses, especially when they think of the word automation, they don't want to lose basically the big advantage that they might have over an enterprise, right? That personal touch, they're reaching out to every single one of their clients, they know their clients, they know their sales funnel, everything is good, and they're kind of a little bit reluctant to say, listen, we want to give this this part of the automation to AI. So I think that brings me to my next question here is, how can small businesses really balance rapidly growing without really disrupting that personal touch with their clients?
We always try and tell our customers, don't start big. Start with small items, the quick ones, low-hanging fruit. If you try and automate everything at the same time, one, it's going to take 6 months before we get the process going. While you do that, you lose the staff, you lose the process. People don't trust the system anymore because it's taken too long. So if you take those low-hanging fruit, get it out, get it automated, and then the people can start seeing, hang on, this is really making a difference in the business. Then they start trusting you to start going with the bigger things and the more complex things. And that's just, but it's hard because customers see this automation. They think we can now automate everything. And you have to kind of sometimes just rein them in a little bit and say, just hang on there, we'll get to that, but let's do your hard grind, the stuff that's really making you bleed, let's fix those, and then we go on to the next step. And it's a process. You have to walk this road with the customer. None of them find it easy because once they see this hammer, everything looks like a nail and they just want to beat the daylights out of it. And we have to kind of just say, hang on there, we'll get there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think with automation, like we covered, it is supposed to ease things, but right away when it's not implemented the correct way and it's not implemented in a timely fashion, you're going to see a lot more disruption within your customers and your workforce. Especially a lot of the partners that I talk to, they kind of see, a lot of the upper management saying, yes, let's implement this automation, let's implement AI, let's get going. But, if you're just a sales manager and you've been doing things the same way for 5-6 years in one CRM system, and right away a new feature comes along and says, you need to do this better, they kind of might be a little reluctant to kind of trust AI and really push forward to it. So I think it's very, very true what you just said, a little bit at a time. And let's start with the process that are hurting you the most, right? Let's not start with the stuff that you might see online. They're automating these chatbots, everything. Let's start with things that are hurting you the most. So I think that's very important as well as with this topic, and especially with enterprise-sized companies, we always hear security. They do handle so much data, so many clients and whatnot. But then when you knock it down to small businesses, a lot of small businesses, maybe some mom and pop shops, some companies that are just starting, they might not really understand how important security is, and they might not really understand how fragile they might be in that part of their product. So with you guys, when you do implementations and automation and whatnot, have you been seeing any trends toward being more secure from small businesses, or are you seeing maybe the opposite where they don't really know about security and they don't really care for it too much?
I think it goes both ways, Vlad. So especially when we work with bigger corporates, they are very strict. Towards the smaller companies, I think sometimes we need to advise them to say, listen, look at security permissions. You don't want everybody to see everything. Don't store stuff like ID numbers just randomly where everybody can see it. So, I think it's a matter of awareness. It's slowly growing, especially with the laws in South Africa with POPI Acts and all of that. So more with the corporates. They've got more rules. The smaller companies, we've had the odd customer here or there where they are very strict about it, especially in the financials. We've got customers in the investment and insurance and those industries where it's very critical. And that's often the customers that go self-hosted as well, because they want to have control of their data.
Yep. No, I'm glad you said that, because a lot of the companies and a lot of the partners I speak to, they do kind of say that customers want security, right? They hear about it, they want to be secure, but they don't really know where to start, how it works, or the technical side of it. And a thing that you just said as well, access permissions. It's very nice to start with, your clients, and you just show them basic secure things and features already inside of Bitrix24, already inside of platforms that they're using. So they kind of understand, oh, this is already one step further where I can secure my projects and I can secure my company. Then you introduce the Bitrix24 Drive. You say, let's get away from this, storing all your data onto Google servers and whatnot. Have your own local documents here with your own access permissions. So I think the way our partners break down security and they offer it within Bitrix24, it just makes it so much easier to understand to your potential clients and our companies. And they say, oh, wow, it's actually that easy. And they can be much more confident in saying our product is secure, our sales are secure, and your data is secure with us as well. So that's actually it's very good that you guys do that as well for small businesses and enterprises. And always security, as you covered as well, location matters. Location is very key from country to country. There's so many different laws about security and how you can store things and whatnot. So I'm very glad that you guys are up with that, and you do help small businesses cover, kind of bridge that gap. So that is very, very great. As far as something I do want to cover, yeah, go ahead, Johannika, go ahead.
Sorry, Vlad, there's two simple things that we often tell our customers.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated things. Mm-hmm. Use the two-factor authentication.
Oh, yeah.
Use that, because if somebody steals your laptop or whatever, and then they just go switch on and they figure out your password, and they've got all your data. Mm-hmm. And when you do access permissions, I always tell the customers, you only give high-level management access to delete and to export. Because if I decide, now I'm going and I export all my customer details that I have and I take it with me and I start my own business. So it doesn't have to be the big security access permissions things. It's small things, and that's where we play a role to advise our customers. We do more than just implementing software. I'm guiding you to grow your business. So it's kind of like it's my duty to tell you.
Oh, yeah. We do sometimes with small business find ourselves sometimes coaching more than just implementing, because a lot of the small businesses don't have any skills in-house to help them with their processes, to understand where the processes are going, what is best practice. So we spend up, Nicholas jokes a lot about it, that we spend sometimes more time coaching a customer than actually doing the implementation to help them get their processes documented so that we can then put it into Bitrix. That's just par for the course.
That actually comes back to the first thing of size, if I may bring back to that, Vlad, is that's where you also you need to become part of their team. So they don't know, often we sit and then they'll say, what's your sales process? Now, Phil says this and I say that and this person says that. And then we'll say, okay, well, I can implement your process, but you need to know what your process is. So that's sometimes the challenge with smaller businesses, and you need to spend that, I don't know, it's not really school fees, but spend money to make money. Mm-hmm. Otherwise you do the setup and it's a mess. It's not what they wanted, and you have to do it again, and then you lose.
No, you're 100%, 100% correct there. And also we're seeing, as far as a lot of companies, small businesses, right, they want to have workers in the field. Maybe it's a construction company or a plumbing company, whatever it is. And a lot of their workers might not even be using a computer, right? They might just be using the Bitrix24 app on the mobile device. And a lot of companies don't even understand the risk just associated with that. Even if they, they're taking someone's client, they're taking information, making a call to them or using that information, all that is on their phone now. So like you said, you always have to have two-phase authorization on. You always have to have and make sure that the companies and the clients that are using Bitrix24, they understand how well they are protected, and it's a big advantage of how simple we can actually offer it to them. So, I mean, as far as security goes, we understand that, and we do a great job with that. I think something I want to cover right now is that's very trending topic. I mean, with everybody and just online in general, in the business world, sales world, is AI, right? How do we see AI kind of evolving, and how do we see AI getting more into the integration process, maybe with how you work and maybe with how clients adapt the way they use AI?
I think the first thing that I think will come with AI very soon is we're going to be able to identify those bottlenecks. So AI will be able to tell us this is where you need to focus your time and energy on, and then help us streamline those processes. I mean, we all use AI every day, but I always think of, don't use AI just to help you write a better email. You can help with the automations. You can help guide with processes. What is the best process to follow for a specific thing? But don't blindly follow AI. That's also slightly dangerous. But I think AI is definitely going to help us improve the processes. And as I say, once you've identified where you've got these bottlenecks, then we focus time and energy there. Before AI, it was always going to be humans, and you put 5 in a room, 5 are going to identify 5 different places. Now let's rather focus on where the real problem is and where we're really bleeding, and let's operate around those focus areas, fix that, automate it, and then we go to the next one. So eventually you'll be able to have a team of 5, and we'll operate like a team of 50, because we can focus on the real stuff, the deals, the leads, the interaction with the customer strategy, whereas the admin and the I don't want to call it donkey work, because the AI might get upset with me, but let AI do that slog for you, and then we just focus on the customer-centric type work.
Mm-hmm. And one more thing I'm realizing now about the security about it is, if a customer is very sensitive about security, use Bitrix to sell that. So you're not on your personal WhatsApps, you're not on your personal phone calls or whatever. So communication is stored in a secure environment. So it's not only about the data, it's where the communication happens.
Yeah. No, I mean, things that we're touching here are very important as far as AI, as far as security and all that goes. I think here we also need to understand, right, that how we portray AI, and Phil, as you said, how we kind of have the mindset, how we want to use it, right? We can use it for basic things. We see a lot of people do use it for basic things, and businesses that are kind of ready and say, we're all in on AI, let's all do AI, everyone, we need to have an AI chatbot here, everything. That's all great, but the thing is, like Phil, you just covered, don't blindly follow it. Have your own model, have your own morals, let's say in business, whatever, that you want to implement through that AI, right? Because at the end of the day, you never want to lose the personal touch with your clients, especially as a small business, as we covered before. And on the back end of it, you don't want to scare your workers into jumping into something they're not comfortable with. If you're just an AI heavy upper management, great. But some of your sales workers, some of your workers in the field, they might not be using AI. They might not even trust AI. It might not be in their routine. So it's kind of, yes, as our partners, Bitrix24 partners, like you said, it's easy for you to simply, slowly kind of integrate AI into their everyday practices and processes. But also we kind of need to understand that if they don't want to use it, they don't have to. But to some time, they'll come to it by themselves. Never need to force it on them. Never need to push it on them. Like you said, Phil, AI is only going to help you see that bottleneck, understand that bottleneck, and fix it. We're not going to use it to try to replace you. We're only going to try to help it and try to get the most out of your work and make your work a lot more easier. So it's very good that you guys do kind of have that good relationship with AI. And it's also good to not scare your clients, right? To say, we are going to automate everything. AI is great. We got to find that balance, guys. We just got to find that balance. We got to make and understand, like you said, you got to be part of the company that you're implementing, right? You got to understand and feel their energy, how they want to implement AI, how they kind of behave with it, and how their workers see it as well. So I'm very glad that you are kind of building that bridge, gapping that bridge, and building that relationship with just not the Bitrix24 portal, but just other AI instruments and tools that are offered in the business world. And I mean, we've had a great interview so far, and I kind of wanted to talk about you guys more, because you guys have been such great partners with us for a long time. Can you just cover maybe some some of your most recent success stories that you would like to share?
One of the stories we always find amazing is, Phil, you know the exact numbers. It's a real estate customer of ours, and they manage an average of how many leads a day?
They've got about 4 different instances of Bitrix for their different branches, but just their one branch, I had to do some BI work for them before we had BI Builder, just to build some reports. And I was shocked to see that they manage between 60 and 70,000 leads every month through Bitrix.
Wow.
So you see, it even shocks you.
Yeah.
It was massive numbers. And we've automated in such a nice way for them that if they phone, because they do real estate, if they phone you and you don't qualify for a home loan or you don't qualify to buy, that lead is then put away for 6 months. And then after 6 months, they contact them again because maybe their financial situation has changed. And then you can afford to buy a house. So those leads get recycled the whole time until they almost realize that they're either never going to sell to him or they've sold him a house. And I mean, they, in 1 year, sold 6,500, built and sold 6,500 houses in 1 year. And when you work that out, that's what every 2.5 hours. Look, obviously they don't build it in 2.5 hours, one would hope, but that is the pure volume that they manage. And without having the processes automated and Bitrix around, they wouldn't be able to do that with anything else.
And it doesn't have to be complicated, Vlad. We think automation needs to be this big wow thing. For one of our customers, coincidentally also in real estate, they have a lot of different estates, so that if you log an inquiry, and I know it's for estate A, there's an automation that sends you the information about estate A. It's very simple. This is the cost, these are the facilities, this is where you apply for the property. So to have to do that manually, first of all, you can make a mistake, and it's going to take time. When are you going to do all of this? So now it just does that for you. So your customer thinks, oh, look how great it is. I just submitted the inquiry and they already contacted me. So it can be simple things like that, or it can be complex where we've built integration for credit checks, where they say, okay, you coming in. I don't have to call or email or whatever. We integrate with 2 different
credit bureaus.
So I know immediately, okay, Mr. Customer, I'm going to work with you. And you're a little bit dodgy. I'm going to have to do some homework. So it takes away some risk as well. So, but you need to pick the low-hanging fruit, like Phil said. So we often fall into the trap. So Bitrix can do all these cool things, and we just want to automate everything. And then you lose the end user because they go, wow, this is too much. I can't do this. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different things, and we believe in automations or integration as well. So the idea is to have one portal. You've got one workspace. If you can report on one platform, it makes it so much easier. So automation integration kind of runs hand in hand here. And then, one of the other features we also do a lot is signatures, not just the Bitrix signature. We've partnered with a company, they do legal, it's a legal signature, that signing a lease, signing a contract, signing so many things. You don't have to email it, type it, scan it, whatever. You just do it. It saves you so much time, and it is legal.
And that's one of our customers, when we automated their process, they do office rentals. Okay. And we had to automate their process from the photocopies to the telephones to the water, electricity, and the boardroom rentals. We had to automate for them. And one day, Yonika asked the customer, and then we also integrated that into the accounting system. And Yonika asked the customer, is this working for you? And he said, this is the difference. It's like driving from Johannesburg to Durban, which is, in our case, about 600 kilometers, and flying. This is because his month ends are now just so much better. Because before he had to sit and sift through all the data and then create all these invoices. Now it's all automated through there. His month end is probably now half a day, and all his customers got the invoices.
The same example with that other distribution company, the lady has to collect reports from everywhere in the company. So she's got this whole list. She's got this Excel that she needs to tick. I've got this. Now it can just create a list of tasks, automatically assign it to the people that has to do it. All she has to do is, who didn't give me the report, they get an automatic reminder to say, listen, you haven't given me your report. So it's also for internal things. It's not only, like with the invoicing for them, and basic tasks to say, are things happening? And also with us working remotely, I can't just pop into your office and say, where's your report?
I mean, those are some wonderful success stories. I really like, Phil, like the first company you said, I think that Bitrix does really well is selling to a prior client or a client that you've had, an old client, is much easier than getting a new client. And that's what a lot of companies and a lot of partners I talk to is something that they try to drive home to their clients that they're implementing too is, listen, guys, you already have so much data and you've already collected so many clients and customers and potential here. And just because maybe one bad sales manager or one, bad email, maybe one email that didn't get delivered kind of broke up that whole sales process for them. So it's really nice to see that a company is actively using Bitrix24 to refunnel those leads. And then, like you said, you're either going to sell them something or you're going to know you're not going to sell them anything. So that's really, I'm glad to hear. And I'm glad to hear that it's not all about the big companies. It's not all about enterprise companies that are just making things much easier for their workers. And it's one thing that we see a lot of client feedback and a lot of partner feedback about Bitrix24 is the price point. We're trying to make this automation, we're trying to make AI and all these great new sales features available to every single businessman, to every single entrepreneur, to every single small business out there. And you don't have to break an arm or a leg to get there. So I'm really happy the work that you guys do. We're very grateful to have you guys as partners. And again, Janica and Phil from South Africa, FullView Solutions. If you guys need anything, our podcast will be out soon. You guys can catch them on all social media platforms. And please like, subscribe, follow the channel. We'll have some cool new episodes with our brand new partners coming up as well. And thank you guys for your time. And thank you for the work that you do for Bitrix24.
Thank you. And thanks for all your assistance.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Cool. Cheers.
Thanks, Blake.